2010 World Cup final. Spain lifts the trophy with 6 players from an academy in their starting 11. 6. That academy, a crumbling Barcelona farmhouse called La Masia. But here's the twist nobody talks about. Barcelona didn't invent this philosophy, they stole it. From Amsterdam, from Ajax. From the man who created total football, then perfected it twice. This is how one philosophy conquered world football in 2 different decades. Amsterdam, 1965. Rinus Michels walks into Ajax's training ground and sees chaos, players stuck in rigid positions, afraid to leave their zones. He tears up the rulebook. Football is a game of space and time, Michels declares. Master both, and you master everything. Total football is born, defenders become attackers, wingers drop deep, centre-backs surge forward. The pitch becomes a chessboard where every piece can move like a queen. Out of this revolutionary system came Johan Cruyff, not just a player, but a philosopher in boots. He absorbed every lesson, every tactical nuance, every principle of space and movement. Ajax's 1971-73 European Cup three-peat wasn't just about trophies, it was proof that football could be art, science and poetry combined. Fast forward to 1988. Cruyff returns to Barcelona as coach, walking past Camp Nou to a crumbling farmhouse that most people ignore. This will produce the best players in the world, he tells the stunned board members. They think he's lost his mind. But Cruyff wasn't building something new, he was copying his own homework from Ajax. The same principles that conquered Europe in Amsterdam would now be planted in Catalan soil. La Masia becomes more than a dormitory, it becomes a laboratory. Same DNA, Spanish execution. Total football reborn as Tiki-Taka. The farmhouse becomes a factory, and the results about to shock the world. But here's what nobody tells you about La Masia's secret weapon. It wasn't just about technique. It was about thinking 3 moves ahead, just like Ajax taught the world. The Ajax Academy kept producing diamonds through the decades, each one carrying Michels' revolutionary DNA. Marco van Basten, the assassin who turned the penalty box into his personal gallery. That 1988 Euro final volley against the Soviet Union. Pure geometry. Impossible angle, perfect execution. Dennis Bergkamp, who turned football into sculpture at Arsenal. Remember that Newcastle goal? The first touch to kill the ball, the turn to lose the defender, the finish to break hearts. That's Ajax DNA in English football. Frank Rijkaard, the perfect balance between grit and grace. Defensive destroyer one moment, playmaker the next. The embodiment of total football's core principle. Every player must be complete. But it wasn't just individual brilliance. Watch Ajax's 1995 Champions League triumph under Louis van Gaal. Kluivert, Seedorf, Davids, the De Boer twins, all products of the same system that valued intelligence over athleticism. Every player was interchangeable, yet unique. That was Michels' genius, players as parts of a living organism, each understanding their role in the greater symphony. The philosophy worked, but could it survive translation to a different culture, a different language, a different way of seeing football? Cruyff's La Masia produced what many consider the greatest generation in football history, the miracle classes of the late 1990s and 2000s. Picture this. 1999. A 12-year-old Lionel Messi arrives from Argentina, homesick and tiny. In the same dormitory corridors walk Xavi, already showing the vision that would define a generation. Iniesta, quiet but deadly with the ball at his feet. Piqué, learning to read the game like a chess master. But La Masia wasn't just about collecting talent, it was about programming minds. Every training session began the same way. Think before you receive the ball. Know where you're going before it arrives. The breakthrough came under Frank Rijkaard, but the revolution exploded under Pep Guardiola in 2008. Suddenly, Tiki-Taka became total football reimagined.
Tell me about Tiki-Taka. Where did the phrase come from, and how do you pronounce it properly?
Tiki-Taka, that's something like this. So he puts the ball but as quick as possible and these sort of things. But it's when we started in Barcelona to do positioning play. It's responsibility of the ball, where you play, how you play. Controlling the ball is the basis of football. In the beginning, that was something where people laughed about. because they didn't understand that it was football. And until it had the results and people enjoyed it and people loved it, and now it's a fantastic world.
Shorter passes, faster tempo, positional rotations straight from Michels' notebook. Watch Barcelona's 2009 Champions League final against Manchester United. Every goal starts with patient build-up from the back. Piqué to Busquets, to Xavi, to Iniesta, to Messi. 5 La Masia graduates in one move. That's not coincidence, that's systematic perfection. 20 years of Ajax philosophy refined into Spanish silk. The philosophy had evolved, but the DNA remained pure Amsterdam. Guardiola's Barcelona didn't just play football, they played chess at 100 miles per hour. Every pass had purpose, every movement created space, every player understood their role in the collective masterpiece. But the real proof came in 2010. Spain's World Cup squad. In the final against Netherlands, the country that gave birth to total football, Spain's Tiki-Taka reigned supreme. The student had become the master. Then came the moment that proved La Masia had surpassed even Ajax's wildest dreams. Spain's Euro 2008 triumph with 6 La Masia graduates starting the final. Xavi orchestrating from deep, Iniesta gliding between the lines, Puyol commanding the defense. The blueprint was unmistakable. This was total football with a Spanish accent. 2 years later, that 2010 World Cup final became the ultimate vindication. 7 La Masia players lifting the trophy in South Africa. Iniesta's winning goal, a move that started with Puyol, flowed through Xavi, and finished with the quietest genius in football history. That's not an academy, that's a dynasty factory. La Masia had achieved something even Ajax never managed, conquering international football with homegrown talent. Meanwhile, Ajax refused to fade into history. The 2019 Champions League run proved the original philosophy still breathes. De Ligt commanding the defense like a young Rijkaard. De Jong spraying passes with Cruyff-like vision. Van de Beek arriving in the box with perfect timing. Knocking out Real Madrid at the Bernabeu wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. Total football never died. It just went home to Amsterdam to recharge. Today, the torch passes to new generations, but the flame burns as bright as ever. At Barcelona, despite recent struggles, the academy continues producing miracles. Pedri, with his impossible first touch and vision beyond his years. Gavi, pressing and passing with the intensity of a young Xavi. Lamine Yamal, dribbling with the audacity that made Messi a legend. Each carries the same DNA, think fast, move faster, never lose the ball. The principles Cruyff transplanted from Amsterdam remain sacred at La Masia. At Ajax, the academy continues its relentless production line. Talents like Ryan Gravenberch and Jurriën Timber understand total football in their bones, raised on the same principles that created Cruyff and Bergkamp. But here's what makes this story truly remarkable. Both academies now influence each other. Ajax studies Barcelona's possession statistics. Barcelona analyzes Ajax's pressing triggers. The philosophy has become a living, breathing organism that transcends borders. 2 academies, 2 cities, 1 philosophy that conquered the world twice and continues evolving. So who really owns total football? The question that divides football purists worldwide. Did Ajax invent it and Barcelona perfect it? Or did La Masia prove that great ideas become immortal when they evolve beyond their origins? The numbers don't lie. Ajax's 3 European Cups in the 1970s changed how football was played. But Barcelona's 2008 to 2012 dominance, Champions League titles, World Cup, European Championship, changed how football was perceived globally. Without Ajax, there's no Barcelona as we know it. The farmhouse philosophy was always Amsterdam DNA. But without La Masia, maybe total football never becomes eternal. Maybe it remains a beautiful memory from the 1970s instead of a living, breathing philosophy that still shapes modern football. The truth? Both academies are guardians of the same sacred flame. Ajax lit it. Barcelona made it burn brighter. So here's the question that will spark debate in every football forum tonight. Ajax created total football, but did Barcelona perfect it? Are you Team Ajax, the original innovators who revolutionized football forever? Or Team Barcelona, the perfectionists who took that revolution global? Drop your answer in the comments, because whether you speak Dutch or Catalan, there's one language we all understand: total football. And if you want more deep dives into football's greatest philosophies and the legends who shaped them, hit that subscribe button. Because at Football Icons, we don't just tell stories, we uncover the DNA of greatness.